Hi, I'm John Rainier, the property analyst for ECM. What I want to talk about today is why we think that listed property in South Africa is very overpriced. We've looked at it really from 3 points of view. One, from the underlying value of the properties in the portfolios that are listed. On that measure, the listed stocks are trading at about a 45% premium to the underlying value. So that's one reason we think that it's expensive. Then we looked at historical earnings growth. And if you compare the property trust earnings yield, which is currently around about 6.5%, with the all share earnings yield, which is around about 7%, one would expect that property earnings would grow faster than inflation because of this premium pricing. However, if you look back over history, and the best history we've got is the property trust index, which stretches back 35 years, you see that listed property has grown its earnings at about 4% less than inflation, and the all share index has grown its earnings over the similar period at around about 4.5% better than inflation. In other words, listed property has grown its earnings by about 8 and a bit percent less than the ALSI, and yet it still prices a premium. To us, this is not a sane pricing of assets. And then thirdly, if one looks at the pricing of listed property relative to bonds, there's a measure of concern as well. There's a very strong correlation, especially over the last 15 or 16 years, between listed property earnings yield and the long bond yield. If one looks where long bonds are now, in real terms they are actually about negative. In nominal terms, they're about as low as they've been for the last, forever. And on that basis, one also worries that listed property is going to have a big derating if bonds derate. If one looks over the last 10 years or so, where bonds are now has been followed by two big retracing in pricing, and so I guess there's a fair measure of risk that this is going to occur again, and similarly listed property will be negatively affected. So in essence, on those three measures, which in the past have proved fairly reliable, listed property is expensive, and for a firm like ours, where we are very cognizant that we don't want to lose our clients any capital, we wouldn't be investing in the sector at the moment in South Africa. Thank you.